Defense.com.
Tonight, we heard a little more about the Obama military doctrine, such as it is, but even his supporters are kind of at a loss to explain what it is. Ronald Reagan liked to flex American muscle, but when it came to using force, he preferred special forces over large platoons to clean up messes. Now, that kind of approach could get support from both the right and the left these days. So is there a way to get President Obama to act more like Ronald Reagan? Here to score for us is Republican Congressman Michael Grimm of New York and former Marine captain, Iraq veteran, and Silver Star recipient and mixed martial arts fighter Brian Stan. Good to see you both, guys. Thanks for coming in. Congressman, first to you. I remember the Reagan doctrine very well. What he preferred to use, he didn't use the tens of thousands of troops. He'd focus on special forces and sometimes surrogates, by the way, like the Contras in Nicaragua, to get what needed to be done. Should we go back to that formula?
You know, that depends. That depends on what is our mission. You know, the biggest problem that I have right now with this current administration is we don't know what the mission is. Now, I just came back from Afghanistan and Iraq a few months ago, and Afghanistan looks to me, as someone that has served in combat with the Marine Corps, it looks like we're doing nation building, but no one wants to admit that. So if we're doing nation building, we have to say so, because I don't think the United States is in it for the long haul. And if you're not going to complete your mission, then you should pull out. You shouldn't be there if you're not there to actually complete your mission.
Well, and we were told by both Bush and Obama that we weren't in a nation building. But Brian Stan, the idea of what we did in Afghanistan when we first went in there after 9/11, we sent the Special Forces guys, not more than a couple of hundred Special Forces guys, some of them on horseback, by the way. They worked with local Afghans who were fed up with the Taliban, who wanted to kill them all. In combination with the drones in the sky, those three elements, Special Forces, drones, and the local forces, knocked the Taliban out of power. Is that the way to go when these things flare up?
Well, you know, I agree with the congressman. You know, what is the mission? Because if the mission's nation building, we can't do it that way. Nation building takes an exhaustive amount of troops, and we can't withdraw yet if that's what we're going to do, because you need to suffocate every village so that people and insurgents can't lay in IEDs and take up sniping areas to ambush our troops. If we are going to go back to the mission which we first went over there to do, which was to dismantle al-Qaeda and not allow them to train and recruit troops in Afghanistan, absolutely, we can do that with the Special Forces and the CIA and groups like that.
Well, Congressman, shouldn't that be our mission? If the president is reluctant to come forth with a clear mission statement, why don't you do it? Our mission should be just to dismantle al-Qaeda and the Taliban in Afghanistan. That's it. No nation building.
Well, I agree with you. And the reality is simple. We need to do nation building, but we need to do it here in the United States. And again, I do believe that we have to stop the Taliban and the al-Qaeda from having a stronghold in Afghanistan. But as my fellow Marine just said, we can do that with less troops, and we can do it with strategics. My problem, though, is what is the president really saying? I think that he's looking through a different optic, and that's a political optic, looking for favorability before an election. And we cannot do that. We have to have our strategic military optics on when we're going to discuss how we withdraw from Afghanistan. So the biggest problem here is that I think we have politics playing where there should never be politics, and that's with the lives of our troops. So I agree with my fellow Marine that we can do it that way, and as long as we stop the stronghold of al-Qaeda and the Taliban from recruiting there and from training there, then I think that would be mission accomplished, and that's something we can do, and I think it's something the American people would be behind.
By the way, we've got a whole family of Marines here. I love that. But, Brian, what about our mission, our overall mission in the world today? Do you think we're overextended? Do we have too many troops out there?
Well, absolutely. Our military is exhausted. You got young men and women that are 24 years old, and they've been on 6 or 7 deployments. You know, what that equates to is higher suicide rates, higher divorce rates. You know, and I think that's why we're still towing the line as far as Libya. You know, we are a bit extended, and if our mission is no longer nation building in Afghanistan, then we need to strategically withdraw our troops, and Obama needs to lean on General Petraeus, as he has been our all-star in the last decade, you know, for running these wars first. That's the man I want to hear from, and he needs to align himself with General Petraeus at how we can do that. What's the best strategic way to withdraw these troops so that the remaining troops are not put in danger?
I'd go with that strategy. That sounds pretty clear. But, you know, you think of not only Libya and Afghanistan, but Syria. There's some signs that we may get involved there. Somalia, there's some signs we may get involved. I mean, Lord knows when it's going to end. And getting back to your point, Congressman, that we just don't have the money. We got a nation build right here in the United States. The Reagan doctrine, sending in the special forces, maybe using the drone technology, which doesn't cost anything. Costing lives is the worst cost of all, of course. But next to that, we have to worry about expenses. This sending massive numbers of troops, tens of thousands of troops, costs a lot of money. The other strategy doesn't.
No, absolutely. I mean, I think all these points are very much valid points that need to be on the table. We can't think of things in a vacuum. The reality is that this nation is hurting. People have to get back to work. They have to be able to put food on the table for their families, and right now they can't do that. And when we're spreading ourselves so thin throughout the world, we have to take a step back and wonder, what exactly is our mission? And are we capable of accomplishing that mission? The last thing I would do as a commander on the ground is allow my troops to go into a situation that I know they can't finish. There's no purpose in doing that. First of all, it takes the heart out of our military, and it costs so much treasure and blood that no good commander can ever in good faith do such a thing. You can't justify it. And that's why I really think that the Obama administration needs to define the missions, all the missions, for all of those in harm's way right now, define exactly what they are. Because I'll tell you, over in Libya, I was told right here in the Congress that we were not going to commit troops to the ground. We were promised that, and I am dead against us committing troops to the ground in Libya. So we need to define exactly what our missions are so that we can know if we're accomplishing them or if we cannot accomplish them.
All right, and the missions have to come under the umbrella of a doctrine. So far, I haven't seen that. They could do well to look at what Reagan did. Representative Michael Grimm, Brian Stamp, great to see you both guys. Semper Fi, thanks for coming here.
Semper Fi.
Thank you.
It is